Paris, Babylon by Rupert Christiansen. Book review. Although Christiansen's book is subtitled The Story of the Paris Commune, the Paris Commune itself doesn't come on the scene until the last 100 pages of the book. The rest of the book is dealing with the decadence of Paris under Napoleon III and the Second Empire, and the sufferings of the Parisian population during the siege. Hence the title, Paris, Babylon, and the comparisons with Paris as the second Babylon. As a popular historian, Christiansen does a great job during the siege of Paris and the Paris Commune. During both the siege and the Commune, he gives a day-by-day blow of what was going on in Paris, focusing on journal entries and memoirs from participants. It's fascinating reading. Unfortunately, the beginning of the book, meaning the first 160 pages, is slow. And nothing kills a book like a slow beginning. Unless the reader has a lot of patience, they might never stick with the books to get to the interesting part. For example, there is a long chapter devoted to the urban renewal programs in Paris in the 1860s. And I almost gave up on the book during this chapter. Now, admittedly, this is important historically. And it was certainly one of the causes of the Commune. Almost every other history of the Paris Commune I've read mentions this. The fact that the poor were forced out of their old neighborhoods to make room for the opera houses of the rich is cited by just about every historian as one of the causes of the urban unrest in the late 1860s in Paris. But in a popular history, is it necessary to spend a whole chapter on the details of the urban renewal program? I mean, I could understand this in an academic history, but you know, this is one of those popular armchair histories meant to be read by kind of non-experts. Couldn't this point have been made in fewer words? Others of Christiansen's excursions are of questionable relevance. He devotes another whole chapter to the murder of the Kink family. Now, again, to give credit where credit is due, this is interesting, but it's not really relevant. It's a brutal murder which became a media circus in Paris in the 1860s. Now, even 150 years later, the crime still feels fresh with all kind of the tabloid voyeurism that, you'd expect from these sensational crimes. But what is the connection to the Paris Commune? Well, according to Christiansen, he tries to justify it like this. He says, every murder holds a mirror to society's underbelly, its conscience, its values, its soul. The Kink's murder trial tells us about the way the Second Empire's promotion of enterprise, commerce, and profit as moral ideas could poison a fantasizing young teenager. It tells us about the bourgeoisie fear of the workers and the corruption of justice. Yeah, maybe, I suppose. Or you could say that in every society, at any point in history, there are always murderers and sickos. I'm not convinced it had relevance to the Paris Commune.